is Dr. Brad DeBells, and this is Ask Brad. Coming out of winter into spring, we'll see a lot of snow mold on our lawns. So most of us have seen this, but maybe have difficulty identifying some of this. A lot of times it'll be circular patches, kind of white, gray, or tan colored. You'll notice on the outer edges of those matted areas, it'll seem a little brighter colored. That's really the growing area of that disease. And the reason we see some of this disease is it's from cold weather fungi that live over the winter. And it most often occurs when we don't get a good freeze in the winter and we get a lot of snow cover on that soil. Not all snow mold requires snow cover for it. It can actually occur when the temperatures are below 50 or 60 degrees. So more times than not, your grass will recover fine as temperatures warm up. Very few times you see a lot of grass death from this, except for very extreme circumstances. So I would give it some time into the spring, let things recover, fertilize it. You may want to aerate or rake some of those areas out a little bit. You can expect it to recover as the temperatures warm up. It can be very dependent upon different springs, but generally after a month or two of a nice warm spring, those areas have recovered and you no longer notice any of those snow mold effects. So the best way to prevent some of this disease is to continue to mow your turf throughout the fall until growth has ceased moving into winter by making sure that we aerate our lawn every single year. And you also want to make sure that you mow or rake up any of the leaf debris that you have moving into the winter. These fungi really like to have a lot of organic material and a lot of moisture to grow over the winter. So anything we can do to prevent that will help our lawn in the spring. So we have a question here from Deborah on Facebook where it asked, "Every year I battle the same weeds in my lawn, as well as weeds that creep into my lawn from my neighbor's yard. Thistles, creeping Charlie, clover, you name it. Is there any way I can stop these weeds from coming into my lawn every year?" While it can be extremely frustrating to see some of these weeds migrate onto your property, it's really important that you continue your annual fertilization and weed control programs to prevent that from happening as much as possible. Weeds are very tricky. Some of these seeds can last in the soil for 10s, 20s, 30 years. And if we have these weeds at our neighbor's property, once they're growing and they hit maturity, they can spread seeds even further throughout their lawn and our lawn. So unfortunately, unless you can get your neighbor signed up for a lawn care program, this might be an issue you always have where these weeds are creeping from their lawn into your lawn. So I would just make sure that you consult with your technician and let him know where these weeds are so that he can properly control them every time he's out on your property.